everyone, it's Maki here. In Gundam Seed Freedom, there's a character named Toya Mashima. He bears a resemblance to our Flaga, a key figure in the Seed series. As of now, there's very little information available, especially since only the second promotional video has been released. But let's try to analyze him a bit today. First, let's examine the name Mashima, which is the name of a household. This name is part of the ruling hierarchy of the Orb Union, specifically one of the 5 great families. Another key figure in the Seed series, Kakari is also part of one of these 5 great families, the Asa clan. So does that mean Mena has no connection with the Flaga lineage? Not necessarily. The Orb Union's hierarchy tends to prioritize individual abilities over bloodlines. Kakari was adopted into the Asa family. Similarly, in the spin-off series Gundam Seed, Astray the Sahaku clan is led by an adopted member. Therefore, it's also possible that Toya Mashima was adopted into the Mashima family. Does that mean our Flaga had children other than Mulov Flaga? That's unclear at this point. It's worth noting that our Flaga had a very strange relationship with his wife, so it wouldn't be surprising if there were secret offspring. Rau Le Creuset is a clone of our Flaga. He was created with the intention of producing a clone that perfectly inherits our Flaga's abilities. Our Flaga was of the mindset that only a being who perfectly inherited his abilities and ideas would be worthy to be his successor. It wouldn't be surprising if there was a hidden child whose qualifications to be a successor were uncertain and thus was ignored. And just now, speaking of Rau Le Creuset, there exists a second-generation clone of him, Razor Burl, who appears in Gundam Seed Destiny. The background music in the second promotional video was classified as a waltz. In Gundam Wing Endless Waltz, it's said that the history of mankind is like a waltz that repeats itself. The recurrence of a clone of our Flaga then might not be so surprising after all. So what would happen if Toya Mashima turned out to be a clone of our Flaga? Would he despise the world and seek to bring about its downfall like Rau Le Creuset? Many fans might be speculating along these lines. However, it's also worth noting that Rau Le Creuset can actually be considered a hope for humanity. He was created as a clone who perfectly inherited the traits of our Flaga. Our Flaga is a natural, not a coordinator. In the Norionen, it is mentioned that Rau Le Creuset was pretending to be a coordinator. However, this point about pretending to be a coordinator is expressed as a speculation by Mulov Flaga. The ultimate truth is unclear. If we focus on the point that he is a complete copy of our Flaga, then Rau Le Creuset would be of the natural race. So why is Rau Le Creuset a natural considered a hope for humanity? Recall the final battle in Gundam Seed, where Rau Le Creuset had an intense fight with Kira Yamato. He pushed Kira's super coordinator to his limits and came very close to defeating him. Kira was given high abilities through genetic manipulation, yet Rau Le Creuset, a natural, was able to put up an equal fight against such a being. Kira Yamato struggles with his own existence, but it's evident from this scenario that he is merely an entity that exhibits a high level of ability within the human race. Kira does not have the ability to perform special moves such as Burning Machine Gun Punch and Rose Hurricane without using Gundam. What we can glean from the battle between Rau Le Creuset and Kira Yamato is these naturals have the potential to exhibit abilities on par with super coordinators. Rau Le Creuset harbored a deep hatred for the world. He theorized that even without his intervention, humanity would destroy itself through warfare. So all he did was run a little bit of help. When he handed over the neutron jammer Kalo Data to the Earth Alliance forces, he opted for an uncertain approach at Frey Oster, who carried the data disk, being captured by Laos and her team, or had the life pod been shot down. The Earth Alliance would never have received the data. Furthermore, there was a possibility that the person who received the data wouldn't use it for militarizing nuclear weapons. In fact, among the officers of the Earth Alliance there were those who proposed using the technology to resolve Earth's energy crisis and alleviate the suffering of the populace. But nuclear energy was used for military purposes. This was mankind's choice. Rau Le Creuset expressed this sentiment during a battle at the space colony, Mendel saying, "If I were to be defeated by Mullah Flaga on this battlefield, I would accept that as fate." While he despised the world, he was willing to accept the possibility of his plans failing. Strong hatred is often spoken of as a form of changed love in the real world. It is said that the natural human response to something one dislikes is indifference. Hatred is considered a reaction stemming from great expectations or affection for the object or individual in question. In Gundam 00, Graham Acker says love turns into hatred by being radicalized. Overzealous belief is one example that leads to war. There is a possibility that Rau Le Creuset actually loved the world. In the final battle of Gundam Seed, the Super Wing Genesis was launched toward Earth. Although Afranzat tried to stop the launch using the self-destruct mechanism of the Justice Gundam, he was actually too late. Yet, the Providence Gundam piloted by Rau Le Creuset triggered a nuclear explosion midway between the Genesis core and its mirror block. The depiction indicates that a massive explosion occurs in front of the mirror block, even before the explosion caused by the Justice Gundam inside Genesis. This may have been mere coincidence. However, in the end, it was Rau Le Creuset who saved the world. Let's consider a scenario where Toya Mashima is a similar figure to Rau Le Creuset. Our dog Flaga has a special ability that seems to predict the future. He amassed enormous wealth through this ability. What if Toya Mashima had a similar capability? Let's diverge a little into the real world. The Gundam Seed series includes many homage elements to the original Gundam and its successors. The appearance of Zakugao and Dawn in Gundam Seed Destiny leaves quite an impression. The staff led by director Mitsuo Fukuda have stated we started cautiously, implementing homages bit by bit, and were surprised by the positive fan response when we finally decided to go all in. Gundam Seed Freedom is the third installment in the Cosmic Era universe, following Gundam Seed and Gundam Seed Destiny. The third Gundam series depicting the Universal Century world created by the original Gundam is Gundam Double Zeta. In the final battle of this series, the protagonist Judo Ashta says to his enemy, "Hey Khan, if you had used your abilities for harmony and cooperation, you could have saved the Earth." If the abilities of Adolf Flaga and Rau Le Creuset could be harnessed for harmony and cooperation, they might help bring peace to the world of the Cosmic Era. And Toya Mashima is a high-ranking figure in the Orb Union, one of the leading nations in the Earth Alliance. He is in a position to carry out the act. The content we've discussed on today's program is largely speculative. It's entirely possible that Toya Mashima has no connection with Adolf Flaga beyond their similar appearances. How did you feel about it? I was reminded of Mina Carmine from the Gundam 00 movie. She's a character who closely resembles Nana Trinity from the TV series. In the story, Nana Trinity plays a villainous role, attacking civilians with the Gundam's beam rifle. I remember being very curious about what Mina Carmine would do in the movie. Let's keep an eye on what role Toya Mashima will play. Until our next program, take care!